Stick me in my groin and in my neck. Hold up, you ain't sneaking me nowhere. Hi YouTube, it's your girl Frenchie J, and I just wanted to come to you today and share my story with you about how sickle cell almost killed me. So back in 2009 is when I gave birth to my precious baby boy, and my pregnancy was wonderful. So about 2 months after I'd given birth to him, of course I got sick again with acute chest syndrome, which we all know is an infection of the lungs. And for some reason, this visit wasn't so great. I've had acute chest syndrome many times before. A week or two stay in the hospital. They give you blood transfusions, and they get your oxygen levels back good and you get to go home. A lot of those visits I came home with oxygen, some I didn't, but either way, the visit was no longer than 2 weeks. I'll give or take a day or two. This time, I couldn't breathe on my own. I had to be put on a respirator, and the machine had to breathe for me or assist me with my breathing because my oxygen levels were so incredibly low. In the back of my mind, I was going to be fine. I'm so used to having sickle cell crisis. I'm so used to having acute chest syndrome. It's nothing. I'll be home back to my newborn in just a couple of days. Well, days went by, another day went by, then a week went by, and then 2 weeks went by, and then 3 weeks went by, and then 4 weeks went by, and I was still in the hospital. First week, I remember the doctor coming in and saying, yeah, she's gonna have to go on a respirator. She's not breathing on her own. And I was so heavily drugged up. I didn't know exactly what was being said. I just remember being in the hospital and just not really being able to say much because it was so hard to talk. A few friends visited me who have never visited me in the hospital before, and I was like, wow, those are good friends. But what you doing here? Coming to see me. You ain't never came here before. Word was out that I might not make it, and I didn't know that. Thinking back to that day, it was just like, why is she here? Like, she never comes to visit me in the hospital. Why is this person here? A week after that, and like 4 blood transfusions later, I was being transferred from the hospital that I went to the trauma hospital uptown here. And that's where all the surrounding counties, surrounding Charlotte, people come to when there's like just an emergency that their hospital in their county or town can't handle. So in being transported, I remember them taking me and putting me in the ambulance, and the oxygen mask wasn't properly on my face and nose the correct way. And I'm like, no big deal, they'll figure it out and put it back on. But after about 30 seconds, I literally was gasping for air. I could not breathe. I was so weak, I couldn't move, I couldn't yell, I couldn't scream, I couldn't tell anybody, hey, this oxygen mask is not on my face correctly. I'm like, hey man, put this oxygen back on my face. And then is when I knew, bitch, you can't breathe on your own. Like, you cannot breathe on your own. So the hospital ride was horrible. I never felt so much pain in my life. If you've ever been on a city bus or in an ambulance, it's just bumped. You can feel every rock, every grain, every stick, every nail in the road. And every second of that ride, I prayed that oxygen mask did not come back off. And all I kept thinking in the back of my head was my baby. my baby. Like, I gotta get home to him. Arriving at the main trauma hospital uptown here, I was admitted into a floor I wasn't familiar with. This tower was the ICU tower. I looked around my room. There was no door to the bathroom. There was no curtain. There was only 3 walls. And the 4th wall was glass. It was a glass window. And I'm like, what kind of room doesn't have 4 walls? Why does this whole, how am I going to change clothes? How am I going to wash up? I was really in the ICU. And I looked to the left, and there was this small little silver gel cell toilet, and it came out of a cabinet, no less, and you push it back in when you got done with it. This same night, I saw my parents out the left of my eye, and all I can remember is flashes of my mom holding her hands up to her face. All I could see was my dad holding her tight. Why are they both here? And where's my sister? Where's my son? And who's watching them? And it just still hadn't registered to me that I might not make it. At some point during that night, I couldn't breathe at all. I was about 3 nurses on the left, 3 nurses on the right, a doctor in front of me. It was chaotic. I couldn't put together what was going on. It was just pandemonium. All I kept hearing them say was, there's a big machine we're gonna put you on, gonna connect you to it, and we're gonna put oxygen in your blood, and you're gonna be able to be fine. But we gotta stick you in your groin and in your neck. And I was like, stick me in my groin and in my neck? Hold up, you ain't sticking me nowhere. And they kept showing me this big, huge tube, and I'm like, this is not going in my body. What they had to do was take this tube, put it into my femoral artery, and then put another, my carotid artery, or I think it might be the jugular artery. And that's how they had to get the oxygen into my body to circulate the blood. So they explained to me some blood was being taken out of my body and oxygenated blood was being put into the body. And I'm still thinking, cool, all right, whatever, do what you gotta do. And then black. I open my eyes, there's this big white light, like almost to the point where I didn't want to open my eyes, but I know I had to. And of course it was just the room light. I passed out for I don't know how long. I don't remember to this day if it was minutes, hours, days. But I looked around the room, no one was there. Nobody. It was so crazy. It went from pandemonium to nothing. And I didn't know. I got a few more visitors that week from family who never came and saw me in the hospital, ever. Balloons and flowers and cards. I had a visitor who, I won't say her name, but it meant a lot for me to see her. And she tried to feed me. And I was like, feed me? I could feed myself. Like, don't try to feed me. Like, I got this. There wasn't any hope that I was gonna make it, but I did. I beat sickle cell once again. So that's my sickle cell talk for today. I'm making this video to share with you guys because I want to hear your stories. Have you almost died? Comment below. This ain't love, it's clear to my groin and in my neck. Hold up, you ain't sneaking me nowhere.